guys tired of winning yet? So our dear leader, in his most deranged thing to date, which we all knew was coming, he said now he wants to deport American citizens. He said something. There's been people living here a long time. They actually were born here. I think that's our next step to get rid of them. Everyone who voted for this psychopath, you didn't see this coming? Like, you have people who served in the military who are being deported. There used to be a program where recruiters would encourage people to get in the military because their spouses would be given citizenship. And they've turned that program. So now if you even bring up that your wife is from another country, they'll just deport them. I know this isn't what I voted for, but is this what you guys voted for, really? This cruelty? You said you were going to go after criminals. You're going after workers at Home Depot. You're going after people that have worked in this country for decades, paying taxes, that have kids. And the craziest thing is there's no cohesion here at all, because the people that you end up, when you fire and deport these people and all these people lose their jobs, then they have to rely on the welfare state. These were people that had jobs, were paying taxes, and now they're like cast aside, and they have to rely on taxpayer money at that point, where they were actually generating taxpayer money, and now they have to use that. This is so backwards. Like, it's so cruel. What's going on right now? Like, my father was a Republican. I debated him a lot about things. And there are a lot of good merits to conserving things. Maybe conserving norms even. But this is just cruel what's happening right now. Can you honestly say in your heart, if you voted for Donald Trump, you voted for like deporting people who were born here? Like, that's the 14th Amendment. Every senator, every congressman, every elected official takes an oath to the Constitution. Not to some leader, not to one person, to the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution. I do not support Trump. Are you kidding me? Qui-Gon Jinn, I do not. I never have. That's what I'm asking Trump supporters. Like, do you feel good about this? You know, I think today they just announced Dole, the company Dole, just filed for bankruptcy because of tariffs, because of lack of workers. There's also some other issues, but this is not going to help you. Trump voters is who I'm trying to speak to right now. This isn't going to help you. This is only going to hurt you. All of these things that are happening, have you seen a daily improvement in your life because a bunch of masked men round up the people that work at the farm, gives you produce? Do you really think that helps you? Are you that naive? Haven't you seen all the videos of construction workers that were Trump voters and they lost all of their workers? And they're like, you know, now a job takes 4 days that used to take 1 day because these Hispanic folks used to work really hard because they were trying to make a life, a bigger life. Can you imagine yourself growing up in Somalia and not having anywhere to move to? You're so lucky to be born here in America. Those folks are so lucky. They're not coming over the border to torture us. They're coming over the border because they have a terrible life filled with gang violence and like there's nothing for them. Have you ever walked 1,000 or 500 or 1,000 miles with your family to try to make it better? Have you ever done anything even close to that? We used to have a different culture here in America, in the United States. France gave us the Statue of Liberty because we used to have non-stop ships of immigrants coming here at Ellis Island in New York because we knew they had a shitty, terrible life and we were wanting to bring them in. That is what our entire country is made of immigrants. Some of the times, a lot of the time, most of the time, it was just like Ellis Island, where it was just bring them in. Like we'll just process them. It wasn't this year-long process you have to go through for asylum. Can you imagine if you're in a war-torn country and you're trying to apply for asylum in the United States? You're just sitting there waiting to die, waiting for your child to get murdered or starve to death. No, of course you're going to go as close as possible to the place you're trying to go to. You know, Ivanka Trump, or not Ivanka, or Trump's wife, Melania, she came over here on a visa that was made for like people who are like geniuses in their field, for like the top of the field. It wasn't like a model visa. This was like for people that were at the top of their field. The United States really needed these people. It's all projection. And they just built alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades. Does that make you proud as an American, really? Creating like pseudo concentration camps? Does that make you proud? Doesn't make me proud. There's that old poem. It's like first they came for the socialists, but I wasn't a socialist, so I didn't care. Then they came for the Labor Party members, and I wasn't a Labor Party. They came for such and such. But then they came for me, but then there was no one else to protect me. Let's not even get on Senator Murkowski up here in Alaska. She talks out of both sides of her mouth. She's the worst. She was like the deciding vote for the big, beautiful bill. And I promise you, this is going to bite Republicans in the midterms very soon. A big, beautiful bill that adds $3 trillion of debt to take from Medicaid to give to the richest 1% of the world, the richest 1% of the country. There was also a carve out for the 0.2% of the 1% of the richest. You know, Democrats tried, and I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent, motherfuckers. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. But the Democrats tried to just show how far Republicans would go. Like, how about we do a tax break for people who make 500 million? They're like, nope. How about for like 100, a billion. They're like, nope, they would not break it all. This is about stealing from the most vulnerable people in the world and giving it to the richest people in the world. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching this and you disagree with me completely, you're never going to be a billionaire. It's never going to fucking happen. So if you're in your mind doing policies to help the richest people out, you're just fucking yourself. You know, Alaska is a huge state, and we can't have hospitals all over this state. It's like Texas times 3. So we need rural hospitals. We need federal money. It's true, we don't give as much money to the federal government as we get, but we're also a very strategic place for the United States, uh, domestic and militarily wise. A lot of people are going to die because of this bill. A lot of people are going to lose their Medicaid. Your favorite, my favorite Hispanic restaurant, guy who lived here for 40 years, paying taxes, sponsored little league teams, was a great member of the community, hired 60 plus people in his multiple restaurants. Nah, get out of here. You're a shitty American. If you love this, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. I guarantee you. If you love this, if you actually believe that there's some dude, some immigrant that's going to come at you with a baseball bat and bash your head in or stab you in the streets, if you're that scared of fellow people, I ask you, have you ever been to like a big city? You think people live in big cities because they suck? People live in the city because it's so much more fun than living in bumfuck nothing. If you have nothing going on in the middle of Idaho, and there was 17 people at your graduation in your class, of course you hate everyone else because your life sucks. Your life fucking sucks. For whatever reason, your parents or grandparents were chased out of the East Coast and had to go to the Midwest to live because they were not accepted in normal society because they were too dumb. They were too, like, they broke too many laws. So they had to flee. So they went to the Midwest to live. So if you live there in this terrible, barren, cornfield place, it's not because it's a great place. It's because you were chased out of the East Coast. You had to leave. That's the truth. It's the same with Alaskans. A lot of this is the same true. But I came to Alaska because I was tired of those folks. So if you are sitting in your little bumfuck town right now, that some minority moved down the street from you and it's ruining your life, then you are just the most pathetic person ever. And it's true, your daughter is going to bang that immigrant, their son. Your daughter is definitely going to bang that dude's son. because you're such a piece of shit. That's going to happen. To spite you. And he's also a cool dude, too. That's the thing you don't get. He's also really cool and fun. You know, the new budget for ICE in this new big, beautiful bill is all of the federal police agencies combined. Like, where are the don't tread on me Republicans? Don't you realize this is going to be the biggest federal police force ever created? In this new big, beautiful bill, ICE is the biggest federal police force ever created. All of the federal forces combined, this is going to be bigger. The FBI, the ATF, Bureau of Firearms, all of their budgets, the new budget in this bill, dwarfs all of them. ICE is going to be the biggest federal police force ever created in the history of the United States. They're not worried about terrorism. They're not worried about actual like crimes over interstates. They're worried about the taco stand. They're worried about the folks that are building your deck. They're not coming after, MS-13 was actually created in the California prison system. It's not a Mexican, it's not a foreign terrorist organization. MS-13 was created in the California prison system. Look it up right now. I understand people who don't vote. Just so you know, the people that have the most power and the most money don't want you to vote. Like, political apathy is the biggest goal of the elites. Because, like, what? A third of the people vote right now? A third of registered voters vote? So, political apathy, not voting, is like if you don't vote, the elites are like, yes, I got that guy. I got that motherfucker. Because they're apathetic. They don't think they can say anything. So if you just get enough people that don't think their vote matters, don't think that their voice matters, then you win. It's that easy. So, like, let's just break down the numbers here for you. So if 40% of registered voters vote, and it's half and half, let's just say half and half, 20% left, 20% right. Let's just go to the right. Let's go to the 20% of the right. So let's start over. There's 100% of the voting bloc that's eligible to vote. Only 40% votes, and it's half and half. So of the people that actually vote, let's go to the right, 20%. Of the 20%, a 30% is probably hardcore MAGA. The rest are just like, oh shit, I'm just fucking scared. I don't want to go against these crazy motherfuckers. So let's break it down again. Let's go again so you can follow me. 100% of the population, only 60% of them actually are registered to vote. Of the 60% that register vote, only 40% of them vote. So do you see how small this block is already? So 40% of the 60% that are registered only vote. It's half, 20% on the right. But only 20% of that right, a third of them is MAGA. So you have a third of a 20, of a 40, of a 60 determining how you think or who's in charge or who has power. Can you follow that? It's hard to follow. There's 100% of us. 60% of us are eligible to vote. Out of those 60%, only 40% of us do. So we're already so small. It's already so small, the people who make decisions. Of those 40, it's half and half. And that 20%, only third, I would say, are MAGA. Everyone else is just like scared as shit of the fanatics. So you have a third of a half of 40, of 60, of 100 determining what's going on right now. Do you realize you actually can change things if you just make your voice be heard, because it's just this tiny fraction that is just so fucking loud and wrong? They're loud and they're wrong. They are loud, but they're wrong. You think I like doing these videos? I'll be the next one targeted from this goon squad of brown shirts. You think I like this? You think I like elevating my blood pressure? I'm just telling you, there's a tiny percent exerting complete control over how you think that your voice is able to penetrate through the noise. If a Lauren Boebert little jack-off specialist from Colorado, allegedly, can become a Congress lady, if they're just con artists. That's all they are. It's very sad I have to make videos like this. Love from Virginia. I'm from North Carolina originally. Virginia is a pretty crazy place. I do not like driving through Virginia. It's basically a police state. The second you go through the Virginia border, like, everything is being patrolled by sky. Helicopters and planes could be pulling you over. You're like, what the fuck? And they're like Virginia highway patrol everywhere. It's a very weird. It's very close to Maryland and DC, so there's a reason. A lot of politicians live in Virginia, so it's kind of got that vibe. They say, what, Virginia's for lovers? I never really felt that vibe. It felt like Virginia's for getting a fucking speeding ticket. It's true. I believe so too, Steve-O. I don't think that all these plans are going to win. By the way, I have a new camera, or I have a new phone. I haven't posted in a while. I look a bit older now with this better camera, huh? Sorry. What can you do? We get old. Anyways, I think I did my rant. There's so many other things I could rant about right now. One thing I would like to talk about is Lisa Murkowski, our senator. Man, she is, I call her Murky Mouth. Murky Mouth. She always tries to ride every issue she tries to ride right in the middle. She's like she was the deciding vote, basically, which sent this big, beautiful bill to the House. She was like the final one they were waiting for. And she was like, well, I'm going to vote for it, but I don't like it. And I'm hoping the House brings it back to us so we can work on it because it sucks. But I'm going to vote for it. Okay, Lisa. We've heard this story before. Lisa just talks out of both sides of her mouth. I'm going to vote for it, but I don't like it. You know, the only option we had, because most people don't have a very strong memory when it comes to politics, but we had Chewbacca to choose from. Kelly Tabasky, was her name, I think. And she was just straight like, Donald Trump, where would you like my mouth? So we didn't really want to elect her. But at least she would have been like straightforward with like her unwavering cultism, just like our other senator, Dan Sullivan. Let's talk about him. We don't really talk about him because he's just a lost cause. He's gone. Like, there's only a few, maybe you don't know the term, old growth forests in North America. And one of them is the Tongass, which is here in Alaska. And it's got like huge trees that just do not exist anywhere else on Earth. And of course, what do they want to do? What do Republicans want to do? They want to go in there and chop it all down, log it all out, fuck up all the communities, make it all barren, and say, woohoo, we got some money. Meanwhile, you could just do like hemp fields, which grows in 90 days, would have the exact same textile properties. I mean, you wouldn't have big timber logs, of course. But it just feels like all this sale of BLM land. You know what that is? It's the Bureau of Land Management land. It's not Black Lives Matter land. It's a bureau that basically is public land for everyone who's a citizen of the United States to go enjoy. And there's a lot of this Bureau of Land. Let me say it again. BLM land is what they're trying to sell off. And it sounds like Black Lives Matter land, BLM, this Bureau of Land Management. It's like public land that you own just by being a citizen of the country. And you can go hang out and camp and have fun and enjoy it. But no, they want to sell it off. They want to sell it all off to the highest bidder. So there's just big ranches where people go hunt moose, 5,000 acre ranches where the billionaires just come and shoot shit, and they just, I don't know if you're from Texas, listeners or watchers, but there's basically no land in Texas that is not owned by somebody. It's gross. Like, the federal government doesn't own anything. Texas, there's no like real parks to be like, they have like no parkland. There's like nothing that is not owned. So you can be driving in Texas and be like, this looks so fucking beautiful. But all there is everywhere you go in Texas is like a barbed wire fence. Everywhere. You can be on the highway. It's great. But there's just a barbed wire fence over every piece of land. Because some asshole rancher owns all of it. Just like they always have. But it's different other places. It's different other places. There is no barbed wire. You can just like go camping. It's your land as a taxpayer. Do you really just want to sell off everything for there to be a barbed wire fence around Alaska where you can't enjoy it, or around all of your state parks and federal parks? Do you want it to be like Texas where you just drive and it's just nothing but barbed wire? Because that's what they want. That's what the billionaire administration, corrupt powers that be want. They don't want you to be able to just go camping. They want you to have to pay a $5,000 trip to go hang out their ranch and shoot a couple moose on side by sides. I just hope you know that this piece of legislation is one of the grossest piece of legislation I've ever seen in my life. It adds $3.3 trillion of debt over the next 10 years. And that largely comes from like cutting Medicaid for the poorest people in the country. And I'm screaming at these old elders of this Republican Party that used to be the party of fiscal responsibility, of balancing the budget, of not having too much debt. Where are you? Are you really afraid of this fucking almost 90-year-old Cheeto with makeup and high heels? Like, to me, I never thought, like, I understand that Republicans are scared of like drag queens, but their cult leader is literally a drag queen. Like, they're scared of their cult leader wearing orange makeup and his comb over and his high heels where he stands all forward and weird and his catheter. Whatever masculinity you Republicans thought you owned over the last 30 years, you've completely lost, just so you know. You guys are a bunch of whimpering losers, and there's no place for you in modern time. And you will soon find this out in blistering effect in the midterms. Until then, good day.